Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. Alexandre back with you. This week it's going to be a long podcast because we'll continue discussing on how it is possible to back up and restore your device. In a previous podcast, I've showed you how it was possible to perform an encrypted backup of your device. This week, I'll first go ahead and show you how it is possible to set up by yourself your new iOS device, so iPhone, iPad, and iPod using only VoiceOver. After that, I'll show you how it is possible to update your device using only a Wi-Fi connection. I'll show you how it is also possible to restore your encrypted backup from iTunes. And at the end of this show, I'll talk about a new feature in iOS 12.4 allowing to transfer all your data from your old device to a new one using a Wi-Fi connection or a lightning to lightning cable. Enjoy! You're a VoiceOver user using iOS devices and you got a brand new device or even a replacement for a defective device, and you're a bit scary to set up this new device because you don't know how to use the setup assistant with VoiceOver. I'll be with you today to show you how to go step by step and complete this setup assistant. Three major different methods are available when setting up an iOS device. So it is, by the way, the same thing for iPhone, iPod, and iPad. You'll have the possibility to even set your device as a new one, to restore from an iTunes backup, or to restore from an iCloud backup. Also, note that since iOS 12.4, it is also now possible to transfer data using a peer-to-peer transfer. And this transfer will transfer the same thing as if we were restoring an encrypted backup. This transfer is available through Wi-Fi as well as to use a lightning to lightning cable. It is possible to build one using a lightning to USB adapter for camera or either audio material. We'll talk about this method maybe a bit later on in this podcast. Today, I'll show you at first how to set it up as a new device. And after that, I'll cover with you how to restore from an iTunes encrypted backup. I'm not going to explain to you in detail how to restore from an iCloud backup because even if it's the most usually method used, it is very easy to accomplish. And if you well understand how the setup process works, and if you're able to read and understand basic information available during this tutorial, you'll be able for sure to restore from an iCloud backup, because the only thing you'll have to do is to select the backup from where you'd like to restore from based on time and date of your last backups. So this is the only thing you'll have to do. I'm not going to be able to cover all possibilities and cases you may encounter during the initial setup or the first setup of an iOS device because there's so many. If I cover all of them, I'll be with you until tomorrow morning. So what I'm going to do, I'll be with you to show you how to set up an iPad 6. This is a device with many major functionalities, but let's say an average one. The iPad 6 has a physical home button, and you also have the possibility to use the new swipe gestures that are also available on iPhones without any physical or virtual home button. So I'm talking about the iPhone 10, iPhone 10s, 10s Max, 10R, which are provided with only two, slide bar, one at the top, one at the bottom of the iPhone, allowing to access respectively to the home screen, the app switcher, the control center, or the notification center on the iPad. The bar located at the bottom of the screen also allows you to access the dock. We'll talk about this a bit later on. The iPad 6 is also coming with a touch ID, home button. So we'll not cover the setup of Face ID. We'll talk about setting up Touch ID. But if you want more information on how to set it up Face ID, I'll invite you to go ahead and listen to one of our podcasts we've recorded at the beginning of 2018. This podcast compared the use of iPhone 8 to the use of the iPhone 10. And during this podcast, we've explained how to set it up Face ID. The other thing I'm not going to cover with you in this podcast is how to set up the click firmness provided by the haptic feedback when clicking on a virtual home physical button. This kind of button is available on iPhone 7, 7 Plus, 8, 8 Plus. This is a virtual round on the screen. If you place your finger, there's no real button under it. This is not a spring button, etc. This is only something that will interpret the force you'll place on it, and it will return an haptic feedback to let you know that you have promptly pressed it out. The force provided by this haptic feedback can be adjusted on these iPhone models. You'll have three choices you can select between, and you can test by just clicking on the virtual physical on button. But I'm not gonna cover this out. This might be another step you may encounter in a setup wizard. This only applies to iPhone 7, 7 Plus, 8, 8 Plus. Previous models of iPhone are not affected by that, as well as newest ones. So if you have an iPhone X, XS, XS Max, or XR, you're not gonna have to deal with that because there's no real or virtual physical home button. And same thing, iPads and iPods are not affected by that. If you plan to perform the initial setup yourself, if you are a VoiceOver user, I'll greatly suggest you to be comfortable using the virtual on-screen keyboard, because yes, during the setup you'll have to enter a couple of informations like email addresses or passwords. So it's going to be a good idea to know how to use the virtual on-screen keyboard, because you're not going to be able to pair any Bluetooth keyboard during the initial setup. But if you really need a keyboard, you'll have another possibility. This possibility consists of using a Lightning to USB adapter. This adapter allows you to connect any standard USB keyboards. So you can connect even a wired USB keyboard or a wireless USB keyboard like a Logitech or Microsoft keyboard that are coming with an USB stick. So after connecting this keyboard into the Lightning to USB adapter, you can connect the adapter directly into your iOS device. It's going to work with an iPhone, an iPad, an iPod, whatever the device, you should be able to use it. For sure, this is an extra accessory you'll have to purchase, and I think it costs approximately between 40 and 50 Canadian dollars. So if you really need a physical keyboard, that might be a good solution. If you're planning to use this kind of adapter to perform the initial setup of your device, make sure to have enough batteries available, because if you're running out of power, you'll have to unplug the Lightning to USB adapter and you'll have to recharge your battery before being able to move forward, because usually these adapters are not provided with an additional female lightning port allowing to provide some power to the device. So that's why you'll have to make sure to have enough power available if you want to use an external USB keyboard during the setup, knowing that you're not going to be able to recharge the battery at the same time. Also, if you are a Braille user, unfortunately, it's not going to be possible to connect a Braille display during the initial setup due to the fact that a Braille display needs to be connected via Bluetooth. With a Mac, you'll have the possibility to connect a Braille display via USB, and this one should be detected at the initial setup. However, with an iOS device, you'll have to first complete the setup using only VoiceOver speech or VoiceOver TTS as you may prefer, and after that you'll be able to connect your Braille display device. However, at the time I am recording this podcast, the public major iOS version available is iOS 12. Earlier in June, it was the WWDC event, and during this one, they've announced iOS 13. And iOS 13 is declined in two different brands, the iOS one for iPhone and iPod, and the iPad OS, which is especially designed for iPad. Especially for iPad OS, they've talked about the possibility of connecting a USB device to the iPad, but USB devices like thumb drive, like USB stick, etc. I really don't know if it will be possible to connect a Braille display via USB this way. Also, I really don't know if it will be applicable only to iPad Pro, who may deliver additional power through USB, or if it's going to work on all iPads. It also be possible that this feature can also be used on an iPhone. We'll have to look at it and let you know. Maybe it's going to be possible to connect a Braille display via USB. There's no certitude at this time, so that's why we're not going to talk about iOS 13 today. We are only in a beta right now. iOS 13 should be released in September, but for sure, we can talk about new features of this version in a later podcast. But for now, let's focus on iOS 12 setup procedure, but stay tuned and we'll talk about new features of iOS 13 once it's going to be available for all and publicly released in September. My iPad 6 is ready. I just pulled it out of the box and I should be okay to power on the iPad. But just before doing this, I want to clarify something. With an iPad or an iPod or any devices without any vibration feedback available, iPhones provide this feedback, but on iPad there's not. So it might be difficult to know if the iPad is properly turned on or if it is not, if you're totally blind and can't see the screen. For sure, one of the easiest way to fix this out, if you have one, use a light detector. For sure, with the light detector, you'll be able to check if the light is actually turned on or off in the screen. But personally, my light detector is my iPhone camera. So I'm not going to use this for the purpose of this demonstration, knowing that not a lot of you have a light detector available. So with the iPhone, the best way after pressing and holding the power for a couple of seconds will be to confirm if the device is on or off by moving the rocker switch. So when moving it, if you feel a vibration, that confirms that the device is properly turned on. With an iPad, I know that some iPad provides a rocker switch. However, this rocker switch will not going to be helpful due to the fact that iPads cannot vibrate. So what I'm gonna do, and by the way, it's the same thing for the iPod. So if you purchase a new iPod 7 that was recently launched in the market, you'll face the same issue. So what I'm gonna do, I'll go ahead and press and hold the power button for approximately 4 to 5 seconds. And after that, we'll wait approximately 20 seconds. And you should be able to go ahead and launch VoiceOver. If you have an older device, wait longer, maybe let's say 40 seconds or maybe 1 minute, just to make sure that the device was properly turned on. And To launch VoiceOver, usually you'll have to triple click on the home button. However, if you own an iPhone 10, 10s, 10s Max, 10R, there's no more home button. Same thing also for the latest model of iPad Pro. So to launch VoiceOver, you'll have to triple click the power button. So yes, to power on the device, you'll have to press and hold. And to turn on VoiceOver, you'll have to triple click the button. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and turn on my brand new iPad. So I'll press and hold the power button. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, releasing. And then I'll wait a couple of seconds. And by the way, if you are unable to turn on VoiceOver at the first try, just try to press the button once, like either the home button or the power button, depending your situation, and try again the triple click, and it should bring VoiceOver on. Right now, my iPad should be ready to go. I have no possibility to confirm due to the fact that I'm totally blind and not using a lie detector, but let me try to triple click the home button. By the way, if you have an iPhone 7, iPhone 8, 7 Plus, 8 Plus, the home button is not a real physical button, but it is a virtual home button. It's going to work the same way to turn on or off VoiceOver. You just need to triple press this button. So without further ado, 1, 2, 3.
VoiceOver on. Setup. English. Button.
There we go.
Portrait.
In some situation, the volume might be at a lower level. So just move your finger all around the screen, then press at the same time the volume up button, and you should be able to increase the volume of VoiceOver. Okay, so now I am proud to select my language.
Français.
English. English.
So the first
button.
button is English. If I swipe right,
Français.
简体中文、繁体中文、日本語、
Español. Deutsch. Ruski.
so I
Portuguese.
have
Italiano.
한국어,
Turkish.
نيدرلاند
ภาษาไทย
العربية زر
like a lot of languages available.
Deutsch.
Let me
简体中文、
go
English.
back and select
Button.
English. There we go. I'll just double tap. Oh, and just before, I just want to show you something. Let's say that you're taking too much time to answer questions during the setup wizard. Your screen locked. I'll lock the screen. There we go. I just pressed the lock button. What happened? If I press the home button,
Hola. Heading.
I have a kind of, let's say, slider.
Press home to open. More info. Press home to open.
Hello,
And
Heading. More info. More
Open met thuisknop.
you know,
button.
this is in all languages.
Open met thuisknop.
More info.
Premi il tasto Home per aprire.
It's just inviting me to press the home button to access the setup screen. So I'll just swipe up with one finger. There we go.
Setup.
Like
English.
I'll do
Button.
with an iPhone XR. By the way, on the iPad, even if you have the physical home button, you'll also have the possibility to slide up with one finger. So I'll do it a couple of times during the demo.
Français.
Okay,
Bouton.
English.
so
Button.
let me double tap English.
English. Back button.
Okay, great.
Select your country or region. Canada. Button.
Okay, so now I can select my country or region.
More countries and Canada. Button.
For sure, I'll go ahead and select Canada, double tapping with one finger. Okay, VoiceOver may stop talking for a couple of seconds, and this is the case. It is just
Start.
reloading
Heading.
the interface. Okay, there we go.
Back button. Back quick start. Heading.
Okay, quick start.
If you have an iPhone or iPad running iOS 11 or later, bring it nearby to sign in automatically.
Okay,
If you want, you can also set up this iPad manually.
okay. Yes, I have an iPhone with me, but in most situations, you only have one Apple device, so you're not going to be able to use this Express Setup feature. So I'll go ahead and set it up manually.
Set up manually. Button.
Set up manually, double
Set up
tapping.
back button.
Okay, cool.
Choose a Wi-Fi network. Heading.
Okay, so now I am prompted to choose a Wi-Fi network.
Access 1. Secure network. Signal strength 2 of 3 bars.
All right, so I have a list of available network right here, but also if you have a cellular data connection at the bottom of the screen,
choose use cellular connection.
you should also be able to click this button. I'm not going to do that because most of devices needs to be connected on the Wi-Fi to complete the setup wizard. So I'll go ahead and select one of my network.
Set up your iPad using cellular data if your Wi-Fi network is not available.
Yeah, this is it. So yes, I have the possibility to do so. I'm not going to do
Canadialog.
that.
Canadialog_guest. Canadialog_guest_5.
All right, today I'll be a guest because I'm a stranger. I've decided this. Double tapping.
Password.
Okay, cool.
Secure text field. Is editing.
So
Character
on the
mode.
screen,
Insertion point at start.
now I have a virtual keyboard. So I can swipe my finger on.
S D
I
F
can slide my finger.
G
There we go.
H
When I want
J.
when I want to write down a
H.
letter, I can release my finger.
Hotel.
Nothing's gonna happen because I am in the standard typing mode. I need to double tap in order to write down the letter. However, if you're more familiar to use the touch typing, you can turn the rotor,
Edit. Typing mode.
typing mode, then flick down.
Touch typing.
There we go. Or
Direct touch typing.
direct touch typing. I'm not going to use this one because no one used it out.
Touch typing. Edit.
Okay, and by the way, the other thing I can change in the rotor, by the way, I've just flicked up to select back touch typing. I can also turn the rotor
Words. Speaking rate.
and adjust the speaking rate if necessary. So I can increase it by flicking up,
55, 60, 65, 70, 75%.
or I can decrease it
60%, 55,
by flicking down.
50, 40, 30, 20%.
Okay, let me put it back to 50.
40, 50%.
Great. I'll turn back the rotor on characters.
Words. Characters.
So by the way, to turn the rotor, it's 2 finger clockwise or counterclockwise. And yes, with the standard typing method, just as a reminder, you need to slide your finger on the screen, locate the letter. And when you want to write down this letter, you'll have 2 choices. First one, release your finger, then double tap with the same finger on the screen. Second choice, you can leave your finger there, and with the second finger, you just type in the screen. This is called the share tap. So you'll have both possibilities. Now with touch typing, if you want to type in a letter, you'll have to locate the letter by sliding your finger on the screen. Make sure your finger will touch the screen all the time you're searching
G.
for the letter.
F.
So
H.
there we go. When ready, raise up the finger.
S. W. E. L. L. I. O.
So it is much faster. Okay, let
Join.
me delete
Delete.
all of this. So by the way, if you want to join the network, you can click the join button located at the bottom right of the screen. Depending your device, it might be a bit higher. So yes, you can just click the join button by
Join.
double tapping.
Delete.
But here I'm gonna delete all of this by double tapping and holding. There we
Comma
go.
5 bullets.
And I just want to show you that, yes, it is possible to type in your password or your credential using a physical keyboard. Yes, I have one. I have a Lightning to USB adapter, and I'll connect this one to my iPad. There we go. It should take a couple of seconds before the keyboard being detected. There
Password. Secure text field. Is editing. Character mode. Insertion point at start.
Cool. So, yes, it is a wireless Microsoft USB keyboard that it is connected to the adapter. Then I can type in my password. All right. And yes, I can just validate by pressing enter on the keyboard.
Back button.
There we go.
In progress. Grumpicant. Secure net. Canadialog. Access.
Okay, what's
Secure
going on
network. Selected. Canadialog_guest_5. Secure network.
there? Okay, that's confirmed that I am connected to the right network. Then at the upper right corner,
95
usually,
next.
yes,
Button.
I'll find just under the battery level, the next button. Let me click.
Back button. In progress. It may take a few minutes to activate your iPad.
Okay, so now
It may take a
the iPad will be activated on the Apple servers, and it is done to
back button.
make sure your iPad is not a stolen one, etc., etc. Just to continue the demo, let me unplug my USB wireless keyboard from my iPad. It was just to show you that it was possible to do so. So now the activation is done. So let's explore the screen that just popped up. Oh, and also, by the way, I just want to inform you that using a USB keyboard, you can also control VoiceOver by using arrow keys, using Control-Alt-Space to activate an item, etc., etc. So all standard keyboard command may works. So let's explore.
Personal data use. Data and privacy. This icon appears when an Apple feature asks to use your personal information. You won't see this with every feature since Apple collects this information only when needed to enable features, secure our services, or personalize your experience. Apple believes privacy is a fundamental human right. So every Apple product is designed to minimize the collection and use of your data, use on-device processing whenever possible, and provide transparency and control over your information. Continue. Button. Learn more. Button. Learn more.
Okay, so this is just an information screen, so you can either click continue or learn more. In our situation,
Continue. Button.
I'll click continue.
Back button.
Okay, next.
Touch ID.
I am just, by the way, flicking right or left, depending if I want to go to the next or to the previous item. And when I want to select, I am just double tapping. So Touch ID.
Use your fingerprint in place of your passcode or Apple ID password for purchases.
Okay.
Continue. Button. Set up Touch ID later. Button. Photo of a person holding an iPhone with their left hand while touching the home button with their thumb.
Okay, so here's the Touch ID setup for sure. If you have an iPhone without Touch ID or Face ID, you'll be prompted to set up a Face ID instead. So as a reminder, go and listen to our podcast published in January 2018 that explains all of this. I'll go ahead and set up Touch ID with you.
Set up Touch ID later. But continue. Button.
So let me click continue.
Continue. Cancel. Place your finger.
Okay, so what I have to do,
Lift and rest your finger on the home button repeatedly. A fingerprint that changes color during the setup process. Recognition
Okay.
is 0% complete. Image.
Okay, I only have to put my finger on the sensor. So the sensor is the home button. So I just need to press.
Place your finger.
and
Place your finger.
If I place it and
Lift your
I'm
finger.
not moving, lift your finger.
Place your finger.
So I just need to touch,
Place your finger.
then release.
Place your finger.
Make sure you're not clicking the home button. If you do so,
Play alert. Oops. You clicked.
okay, so please don't press the home button when setting up Touch ID.
Rest your finger on the home button without clicking it. Continue.
So I'll
Button.
have to click continue.
Cancel.
And we'll
Button.
continue.
Place your finger. Place your finger. Place your alert. Keep finger on the home button until asked to lift. OK.
Oh, okay,
Button.
I did it too fast.
OK. Button. Cancel. Place your finger.
Because if we're
Lift your
reading,
place your
it's
finger.
going to be much longer, you know? Like,
Lift your finger. Place your finger. Adjust your grip.
okay, so we just heard a sound and I flicked right. So adjust your grip.
Keep going to capture the edges of your print. Continue.
And
Button.
when you'll be
Continue.
used with it,
Cancel.
I'm
Button.
doing it at this speed personally.
Place your finger.
So
place
I'm
your
just
finger.
touching,
Place
1
your
second,
finger. Place your finger.
lifting.
Place your finger. Place your finger. Place your finger.
There we go.
Complete. Touch ID is ready.
So
Your print can be used for unlocking your iPad.
okay, so I was flicking right.
A fingerprint that changes color during the setup process. Continue. But continue.
And then I just need to click the continue button.
Passcode. 0 of 6 values entered.
All right, we now need to create a password for the iPad.
Create a passcode. Touch ID provides the convenience and security of fingerprint access. Occasionally your passcode will be required for validation. Passcode. 1 of 6 values entered.
Okay, so by default, password is a numeric password of 6 digits.
Passcode options button.
However, I can select the passcode options button.
Alert. Custom alphanumeric code button. Custom numeric code button.
So custom alphanumeric or numeric code. Alphanumeric, you can enter letters there, and in both cases you can put the number of characters you'd like.
4-digit numeric code button.
Okay, 4 digits.
Undo. Dimmed.
Or
4-digit.
or the 4 digits numeric code. In the case you did not set up Touch ID, you'll also have the possibility to select no security code. So let's click
4-digit numeric code.
4-digit numeric code.
Passcode. 0 of 4 values entered.
Here we go. The password.
4.
It will be 4321.
3. 2. 1. Alert.
Okay.
This passcode can be easily guessed.
Okay, so this password can be easily guessed.
Your passcode will be used to unlock this iPad and to protect access to your data stored in iCloud.
You know, if something is wrong during the setup wizard, you'll be notified about this, and you just have to read carefully the message and validate it.
Use anyway.
So I have two choices: use anyway,
change passcode,
or change passcode. So, you know, this is easy to understand. Just for the demonstration purpose, let's click
use and change passcode.
Change passcode.
Button. Passcode.
Okay, I'll put 2019.
2 9 0 2 1 9. Passcode. 0 of 4 values entered.
And normally, if the password is hard to guess, you'll just have to re-enter it.
4 3 2.
So 2
0
0
2 1
1
0 9.
9.
Back button.
Here we go. Let's explore this new screen.
Apps and data. Heading. Restore from iCloud backup. Button.
Okay.
Restore from iTunes backup. Set up as new iPad. Move data from Android. Button. What does restoring do? Heading. Your personal data and purchased content will appear on your device automatically. Your personal.
Okay, so I have 4 options: restore from iTunes, from iCloud, set up as a new iPad, or restore from an Android backup. I did not test the last option, but regarding the two first option, restore from iCloud, if you select this one, you only have to follow the instructions to select the appropriate backup you'd like to restore from. Usually it's going to be the last one. For now, I'll click set as a new. However, later on in this podcast, I'll come back to this screen and show you how to restore from an iTunes encrypted backup.
What moved? Set up as new iPad. Set up back button.
Here we go.
Next. Apple ID. Heading.
Okay.
Sign in with your Apple ID to use iCloud, iTunes, the App Store, and more.
Now I am prompted to sign in with my Apple ID, which is essential to be able to download apps or to use all the features of your iOS device. So yes, for sure, we'll sign in. I'll flick right.
Apple ID. Email. Text field.
So it's a field to enter your email address.
Forgot password or don't have an Apple ID? Button. Your Apple ID is the account you use to access all Apple services. Your Apple ID information is used to enable Apple services when you sign in, including iCloud Backup, which automatically backs up the data on your device in case you need to replace or restore it. See, use different Apple IDs for iCloud and iTunes? Button.
Okay, so I have the option to enter my email, or if I forget my password, I can click this button, or if I prefer, I can also select to use a different iCloud, a different ID for iCloud than iTunes. I just want to show you something. In some situation, if you just want to set up your iDevice as a new device so you can update the iOS operating system before restoring from an encrypted iTunes backup. It might be useful to do it at first, especially if it's a new device. Usually they are not updated to the latest version of the operating system. You may want to configure without signing in with an Apple ID. So it is possible to do so.
Your Apple forgot password or don't have an Apple ID? button.
You'll have to click on this button. So forgot password or don't have an Apple ID.
Forgot
Clicking.
back button. Apple forgot password or Apple ID. But create a free Apple ID button. What is an Apple ID? Heading. An Apple ID. Get all your content on shop for music. Send unlimited. Shop for your set up later. Set up later in settings button.
Okay, so I can just click the button set up later in settings at the end of the screen. So I'm not gonna do this. I'll just perform the zigzag gestures with 2 fingers. There we go.
Apple ID. Heading. Sign in with your Apple ID to use iCloud. Apple ID. Email. Text field.
Here's the
Double
email
tap to edit.
text field. So I'll double tap to edit.
Text field is editing. Email.
Now
character mode.
the keyboard is on my screen. So I'll type in my credential and I'll be right back. Done. I'll click the return button.
Return. Return. Secure text field.
Okay.
Is editing. Required.
Same thing.
Character mode. Insertion point at start.
It is the password.
Password.
So if I flick left, I can see it.
Secure text field. Is editing.
So I'll go ahead and enter my password and I'll be right back. Here we go.
More.
Then
return.
clicking the return button located at the bottom right corner or near the bottom right corner depending. So I located the return button. I lift my finger and double tap.
Return. Apple ID alert. Apple ID verification code.
Okay, what's going on?
A message with a verification code has been sent to your other devices running iOS 10/Mac OS Sierra or later. Please enter the code to continue.
The two-step authentication is turned on, so I'll have to grab the unique code
and
enter it. If you're in this case, keep in mind that usually you'll have maybe a couple of I think less than 1 minute to enter the code. In some situation, you may have to start back again.
So, didn't get a code? Button.
And if you did not get a code, like all the N dash, it is because you have 6 digits to enter normally. And the did not get a code button
didn't get a code
will allow you to receive a code usually by text message.
Cancel.
So
undo.
And
redo.
for
Paste.
sure I have the keyboard.
2.
By the way, if you have an iPhone, you may not see the undo, redo, and paste button. I'm seeing them because I'm using an iPad. So I'll grab the code and I'll be right back with you to enter this one. Okay, so the code is 350115. Don't worry, this is a temporary code. So
7.
I have
9.
a keyboard,
4,
so let
2,
me enter it.
3,
4, 5,
0. Add 2. 1. 4.
5.
Cancel.
Done.
Button. Cancel. Didn't get a code. 5. 5. 3. Apple ID.
Still processing.
5. Didn't get a code. Button. Cancel. Cancel.
Okay, I think I've got the issue I was talking about. Due to the recording, it took too much time to enter the code, so I'm just unable to log in. I am stuck on the screen.
5.
Let me try to
didn't cancel. Didn't get a code. 5. Didn't get a cancel.
Okay,
cancel.
let me click cancel.
Apple ID. Sign in with your Apple ID to use
I am
iCloud.
back on the screen.
Apple ID.
Okay, this is my Apple ID.
Forgot
and
password
my
or don't have an Apple
is
ID?
already entered.
Your Apple ID. Your Apple. Use different Apple. Your Apple ID information is used to enable. Your Apple ID. Next. 89%. Next.
Which is located just under the battery status. So I'll click next.
Alert. Apple
Again?
ID verification code.
Let me go faster. Okay, so 654325.
7, 6, 5, 4, $3, 2, 5. In progress.
There we go.
It may take a few minutes to terms and conditions.
Okay,
Heading.
cool. It's done. So now I need to accept terms and condition if I flick right.
Send by email. Button.
Okay, so I can receive terms and condition by email. I don't really care about.
Important. Please read the following terms before using your iOS device. A. B. A. iOS Terms and Conditions. Button. B. Game Center Terms and Conditions. Button. Please read this software license agreement. License carefully before using your
blah 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 blah. So you can read them, but I'll skip this out. I'll just go ahead and click I agree. It's going to be located
disagree
near
button.
the bottom of
Agree
the screen.
button.
So usually bottom right. Let me click this button.
In progress.
Here we go.
It may take a few minutes to set up your Apple ID.
Okay, so it may take a few minutes to set up your Apple ID. Once done, I'll be right back.
Keep your iPad up to date. Heading.
Okay, done. Next screen. So keep your iPad up to date. What is that?
Get the latest features, security, and improvements by updating iOS automatically. Continue. Button. Install updates manually. Button.
Two choices are available. The continue, that will turn on the auto updates, or
Install updates manually. Button.
install updates manually. I'll greatly suggest you to select the second option because in some situation, especially with a major release of iOS, you may not want to have your device updated right now because in some major iOS release, you may experience bugs with the accessibility features like VoiceOver. Here's an example of a bug that was really disturbing a lot of persons and that I've catch up after a minor upgrade. Not a major one, but a minor one. And the bug was that it was impossible to pair any new Focus Braille display to an iOS device after this upgrade. And if you were using a Focus Braille display, you have updated to this version, a crash occurred, the focus disconnect from the iPad, and it was just impossible to connect it back. So that was a really bad issue, and so many users lost access to Braille. And it took a month or two before that Apple correct this bug. So, if you hear about a major bug like this one that may affect you, you'll have the possibility to bypass a specific update in case you'll activate manual updates. So it might be better to wait a couple of days or weeks, depending if you are a beginner or if you are a power user. So it's your decision. If you select to automatically install updates, you'll not be able, or it's going to be very difficult to prevent an update installing, let's say during the night. So if you want a perfect control, you may select the choice allowing to install updates manually. But please keep in mind that you'll have to go on a regular base into settings, general, and updates to make sure your device will be up to date. So go ahead when you're ready. And anyway, I'll show you a bit later on how to install latest update and make sure your device is up to date. So
Install updates manually. Button.
install update manually, double tapping.
Back button. Location services. Location services allows maps and other apps and services like Find My iPad to gather and use data indicating your approximate location. About location services and privacy. Button. Enable location services. Button. Disable location services. Button. Disable.
I'll greatly suggest you to turn this on.
Enable 10:15 p.m. Status bar item 1:15 a.m. 1:15 a.m.
Oh, okay.
Status
I
bar.
think the clock was adjusted during this time.
Add credit.
Okay.
Back button.
Yeah, it is 1:15 a.m.
Back
Okay.
button.
So let's continue to flick right.
Photo of person using Touch ID with Apple Pay. Image.
Oh, this is the Apple Pay setup.
Add credit, debit, or store cards to Apple Pay to make secure purchases in apps and on the web. Card-related information. Location. Device settings. and device use patterns will be sent to Apple and may be shared together with account information with your card issuer or bank to set up Apple Pay. See how your data is managed. Button. Continue. Button. Set up later in settings. Button.
What is this feature? This is the possibility to use your device as a virtual credit card. If you're setting up an iPhone or either an Apple Watch, you'll have the possibility to use your device as a credit card. So let's say that you're shopping, you can just tap your iPhone or your Apple Watch on the terminal used to complete your transaction and to proceed the payment. Exactly as you'll do it with a credit card, a regular credit card that you'll tap on the machine, like PayPass or PayGo, etc. Apple Pay also allows you to use your device to make some purchase on the web or in-app purchase by using your credit card as a virtual one, which is already integrated inside your device. So it might be very useful if you want to proceed with a web purchase. In the case of an iPad, you'll only be able to use the virtual credit card to make an app or web purchase. In the case of an iPhone or either an Apple Watch, you'll have the possibility to tap your device on the debit or credit card terminal to complete your purchase. And what's really nice with VoiceOver, if you are totally blind, you can't see the screen terminal, you will have the possibility to access the transaction amount directly on your iPhone or Apple Watch just after completing the purchase with it. So it might be very useful for us. I'll not configure it with you, but I just want to show you the screen, how it works.
Continue.
So let
Button.
me just click on continue.
Continue. Security code. Tech card on file.
Okay.
Back button.
Okay, perfect. I've just flicked left a couple of times.
Next.
Okay.
Add card. Heading. Verify your card information on file with iTunes or App Store. Card on file. MasterCard.
So I have a card on file.
Card on file. Security code. Add a different card. Set up later in settings. Button.
So these are all text fields and drop-down list. Or you can even add a different card. You're not obliged to use the one associated with your Apple ID. So if you want to complete it, go ahead. This is a very interesting feature. And yes, it is really working. Even in Canada, you can use this in a grocery store and wherever else you'd like to go and pay using the tap feature. The terminal just need to be compatible.
Set up later in settings. Button.
So let me click set up later in
Set
settings.
up later in settings. Siri.
Okay, Siri.
Siri helps you get things done just by asking. Siri can even make suggestions before you ask in apps, search, and keyboards. To use Siri, press and hold the home button or say Hey Siri anytime. Siri sends information like your voice input, Hey Siri setup, contacts, and location to Apple to process your request. About Siri. Link. Continue. Button. Set up later in settings. Button.
Okay, I am prompted to
Set up
Siri. So
Continue.
let me
Button.
click continue.
Step 1 of 5. Say Hey Siri into your iPad. Continue. Set up alert. Disconnect headphones to set up Siri.
Ah, okay, disconnect headphones to set up Siri. Yep.
Siri, disconnect headphones to set up Siri.
Okay, I got a small
Siri
glitch.
uses the built-in microphone to learn how to recognize your voice.
Yeah, because the iPad is now connected to my
Okay.
mixer.
Okay. Button.
But
Step
it
1 of
should
5.
work.
Say Hey Siri into your iPad. Say Hey Siri alert. Disconnect headphones to set up
no.
Siri.
Oh, come on. Unfortunately, I have no way to perform the Hey Siri when the iPad is connected to the mixer. Let me find something and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have disconnected the cable from the mixer from the iPad. So I should be able to grab the iPad near the microphone and we'll go with that.
Okay. Siri uses the built-in okay.
Clicking OK.
Button. Image depicting Siri being used on an iPad. Image. Siri. Siri helps you get things done. Just to use Siri, press and hold. Image depict Siri. Siri to use Siri. Siri sends information like your voice. Continue. Button.
So let me click continue.
Step 1 of 5. Step 1 of 5. Say Hey Siri into your iPad.
Hey Siri. Hey Siri.
Step 2 of 5. Say Hey Siri. Send a message.
Hey Siri. Send a message. Hey Siri.
Siri didn't quite get that. Try again. Step 2 of 5. Say Hey Siri. Send a message.
Hey Siri. Send a message. Hey Siri. Send a message.
Step 3 of 5. Say Hey Siri. How's the weather today?
Hey Siri. How's the weather today? Sometimes we need to repeat. Hey Siri. How's the weather today?
Siri didn't quite get that.
Come on.
Try again. Step 3 of 5. Say Hey Siri. How's the weather today?
Hey Siri. How is the weather today?
Siri didn't quite get that. Try again. Step 3 of 5. Say Hey Siri. How's the weather today?
Hey Siri. How is the weather today?
Step 4 of 5. Say Hey Siri. Set a timer for 3 minutes.
Hey Siri. Set a timer for 3 minutes. Hey Siri. Set a timer for 3
Siri didn't quite get that.
Come on.
Try again. Step 4 of 5. Say Hey Siri. Set a timer for 3 minutes.
Hey Siri. Set a timer for 3 minutes. Let me try again. Hey Siri. Set a timer for 3 minutes.
Siri didn't quite get that. Try again.
I hate this feature.
Step 4 of 5. Say Hey Siri. Set a timer for 3 minutes.
Hey Siri. Set a timer for 3 minutes.
Siri didn't quite get that. Try again. Step 4 of 5. Say Hey Siri. Set a timer for 3 minutes.
Hey Siri. Set a timer for 3 minutes.
Step 5 of 5. And finally, say Hey Siri. Play some music.
Hey Siri. Play some music.
Hey Siri is ready.
Got it.
Siri will recognize your voice whenever you say Hey Siri.
I'm not sure.
Tap Continue to finish setting up your iPad. Continue. Button.
Okay. Let me plug back the iPad and I'll click continue in a second.
Continue. Button. A photo of an iPad displaying screen time.
Okay, by the way, I'm so sorry for the sound quality. It was the only way I've got to bring the iPad near the microphone. Okay, but and you saw that this feature compared to OK Google or even Alexa or whatever else, it's not very easy to set up. It's not responding all the time to the keywords. So really, this is not a very good experience. And especially if you purchase an HomePod, sometime as you saw in our podcast introducing the HomePod, this device is not responding all the time correctly to our voice. So, yep, unfortunately, I think there's a lot of work to do to improve this functionality. Okay.
A photo of an iPad displaying screen time.
Okay, the screen time. What is that?
Screen time. Heading. Get a weekly report with insights about your screen time and set time limits for apps you want to manage. You can also use screen time on children's devices and set up parental controls. Continue. Set up later in settings. Button.
So 2 buttons, continue or set up later in settings. I think I'll go ahead and click continue because anyway, I don't have any other options to set up regarding this feature. If you click continue, you start receiving weekly reports based on your screen time, on how you're using your device. It might be good to know. And if you don't want any information like this, you can click on set up later in settings. However, if you ask for receiving a summary, it may take a bit more battery. So it's up to you. I'll click continue.
Continue. Button. Back button.
There we go.
iPad Analytics.
iPad Analytics. Do you want to send statistic data to Apple?
Help Apple improve its products and services by allowing analytics of usage data from your iPad. You can change your decision later in settings. About analytics and privacy. Button. Share with Apple. Button. Don't share. Button.
For sure, Apple wants that you share a maximum of data with them. Personally, I am clicking on don't share. It's not going to affect the usage of your device. It depends what you want to do. For the demonstration, I'll click the share button because if I'm not doing it, I'll miss a step in the setup wizard. So let me click
Share with Apple.
share with
Button.
Apple.
Share back button.
Next,
App analytics.
same thing for the app.
Help app developers improve their apps by choosing to share app activity and crash data with them through Apple. You can change your decision later in settings. About app analytics and privacy. Button.
This is help documentation.
Share with app developers. Button. Don't share. Button.
So do you want to share or not? Let me click yes. Personally, I am clicking no. I know Apple will hate me, but yep.
Share with app developers. Share back button.
So take your decision based on what you want.
Quick access to the dock. Heading.
Okay, what is that?
With VoiceOver on. Slide one finger up from the bottom edge until you hear the second sound. Then swipe down to reveal the dock. With VoiceOver off. Swipe up from the bottom edge to show the dock. Then release.
The dock is only available on iPad, but this is a small tutorial explaining you how to perform gestures you may find on iPad, on iPhone X, XR, XS, XS Max. So this is a kind of a small tutorial.
Continue. Button.
Let me click continue.
Continue. Button.
Anyway, that's the only button of interest. So
Continue. Back.
there we go.
Video. Switch between recent apps. Heading. With VoiceOver on. Slide up from the bottom edge farther until you hear the third sound to bring up the app switcher and dock. With VoiceOver off. Swipe up further from the bottom edge. Then release. To show your recent apps. Continue. Button.
So again, how to use or access the recent app if you want to access the home screen. So you need to release after hearing the second sound with VoiceOver and not the third one.
Continue. Back button.
Or for sure on an iPad, you can also just press the physical home button if your iPad has one.
Video. Quickly access controls. Heading. With VoiceOver on. Slide one finger down from the top edge until you hear the second sound to show Control Center. Slide farther until you hear the third sound to show Notification Center. With VoiceOver off. Swipe down from the top right edge to open Control Center. Press and hold on a control to reveal more options.
Great.
Continue. Button.
Clicking continue.
Welcome to iPad.
Hey, welcome.
Get started. Button.
And
Get start.
the button that I was waiting for, get started. Please note that if you're completing the setup on a recent iPhone or any devices without any home button, you're not gonna have a get started button here. You'll have to perform the gesture that replaced the home button. So you'll have to find the sound at the bottom of the screen, then flick up your finger until you'll hear the second one and release everything. In our case, I'll go ahead and click the get started.
Face.
Here we go.
Calendar. Photos. Camera.
So we are all set to go. A couple of more things because yes, I will restore the iPad in a couple of seconds because I want to bring it back to the screen, allowing to select if you want to configure it as a new iPad or restore from an iCloud or an iTunes backup. Just before doing this, I want to show you a couple of things. First, if I lock the iPad, okay, done. I'll have the possibility just to show you like the code will be working. So
Try again.
Okay. I just pressed the
Passcode field.
the Touch ID with the wrong finger.
4.
What's the passcode?
5,
I think
4,
it's 4321. Sorry.
6, 3, 2, 1. Wrong passcode.
No. What did I? Whoops.
2, 1,
1, 2, 3, 4.
2, 3, 4. Wrong passcode.
Nope. 2019.
8 0 1 9.
Yep, okay, there we go.
FaceTime.
Sorry, I was
Double tap
just
to open.
unable to remind the password I've selected because I've did so many restores during this recordings. Oh well. And anyway,
Calendar.
the Touch ID should also work.
2:04 a.m.
Yeah, okay, the iPad is locked. So
2:04 a.m.
I just put the right finger on the home button without pressing it. There we go. Then I can press the home button.
FaceTime.
Next thing,
Settings. One new item.
there's one new items in settings.
Double tap
Why?
to
Because
Settings. Heading.
something was not configured. It is the Apple Pay.
Search. Alexandre Bellimer. Finish setting up your iPad. Button.
Okay, let me double tap this one.
Finish setting up your iPad. Get set up Apple Pay. Button.
This is it. So even if I don't want to set it up,
Set up app
I'll have to go back into setting, clicking on set it up Apple Pay.
in progress.
And then,
Cancel.
okay,
Photo of person using Touch ID with Apple Pay. Cancel.
it was it is the same screen as we saw prior, and I'll just have to click cancel.
About. Button.
There we go. Then if I go back on my home screen, pressing the home button,
Settings.
cool, and
Double
it's
tap
done.
to open.
By the way, with an iPad, if I open settings again,
Settings.
I can just put my finger on the bottom of the screen. Here's the puck.
Setting.
And it's working very well. Yeah, sorry, I was taking time trying to explain the gesture, but yep. And this is the app switcher. Yep.
Settings.
Okay, the app
Active.
switcher. Then if I want to go back to
Swipe
the home
up with
screen, I can touch, swipe up, release.
FaceTime.
So same gesture as the iPhone X. If I want to access the control center, I'll touch the top of my screen.
Control center.
Swiping
Airplane
down.
mode.
There
Switch
we go.
button. Off.
So I am in and want to go back to the home screen.
FaceTime.
That's so cool.
Double tap to open.
Now let's open the app switcher because I want to go back into settings because I want to show you how to launch an update of your Apple device.
App switcher. Settings. Active.
Double tapping.
Setting.
There we go.
Settings.
Let me find general. I know that it is selected already on the iPad, but I just want to show you if you don't have the split view available.
Airplane
Flick
mode.
right until you find general.
Blue. Cellular. Personal. Sounds. Do not. Screen time. Selected. General. Button.
Right now it's already selected, but if you have an iPhone, you must
Selected.
double click
General.
and a new screen will open. On the iPad, I should touch into the right part of my screen.
General. Heading.
Okay, flicking right.
About. Software update. Button.
So you'll have to double tap software update.
Select. General. Back button. Software update. Heading. iOS 12.4. Apple Inc. Dimmed.
Okay, seems that I have an update.
iOS 12.4. Apple Inc. 343 megabytes. iOS 12.4 introduces iPhone migration to directly transfer data from an old iPhone to a new iPhone. Includes enhancements to Apple News Plus and improves the security of your iPhone or iPad.
Great, so we'll see how to update. And by the way, this is so really important to process an update if you have a new iPhone or to process update on a regular base, because updates include some security patches. So this is a must to know how to upgrade. And by the way, it is strongly recommended to upgrade a new device that you'll have, especially if you want to restore an iTunes encrypted backup on it, because you'll have to make sure that the device you want to restore the backup to is running the same version of iOS or latest one compared to the iOS version you've used to build the initial backup. So this is really important. So that's why I'll go ahead and proceed with the upgrade. Flicking right.
For information on the security content of Apple software updates, please visit this website.
Okay, so with the link,
https://support.apple.
blah, blah, blah.
Learn more button. Download and install button.
So here I have learn more, download and install.
Automatic updates off. Automatic updates off button.
And for sure, I can also turn on or off automatic updates using this update panel. This is the same feature we've discussed about during the initial setup. By the way, if you want to check the actual version of iOS that you're running, you can also go into General, then Information. So let me go ahead and
Download
click
and install.
Download and Install button.
Passcode. 0 of 4 values
And
entered.
I am prompted to enter my passcode, so let's go ahead.
2 0 1 9.
There we go. And then what's
Download and
gonna
install.
happen?
Update requested. Dimmed.
Okay, so
button.
update requested. Let me explore the screen.
Learn more. For information on the security.
So the same thing as before.
Learn more. Downloading. Dimmed.
Okay, so downloading. Let me go at the top of the screen.
iOS 12.4. General. Software update. Heading. iOS. Apple Inc.
Okay, nothing.
About 31 seconds remaining.
Okay, so about 31
iOS 12.
seconds.
For information. Learn more. Preparing update.
Oh, I think we've already skipped the download
iOS
step.
12.
Let me continue exploring.
Apple. Preparing update.
We should be able to see a percentage somewhere.
iOS. For information. Learn more. Preparing update. Dimmed.
No.
For information. iOS. Preparing update. Apple Inc. Preparing
I don't have any
iOS.
percentage. In some situation, you may have a percentage. If you have one, before 50%, it should be the download part of the upgrade. After 50%, it should be the preparation part. So be aware of that.
Apple Inc. iOS 12. Software update. Heading. Alert.
Oh.
Low battery. 20% low power mode.
Oh, really interesting. I just
Close.
got the
Button.
low power mode alert. Yes, because my iPhone is not
Preparing
plugged
update.
in.
Dimmed. Automatic updates. Preparing update. Learn more. For information. iOS 12.4. Preparing update. Apple Inc.
We should be able somewhere
iOS
to
12.
see the percentage. Let me turn on, then back on VoiceOver. 1, 2, 3.
VoiceOver off.
1, 2, 3. Triple click.
VoiceOver on. Set. Portrait. iOS 12.4. iOS 12.4. Apple Inc. Download progress. 60%.
Okay, now it is the downloading
Preparing
progress.
update.
But okay, now we can see it.
Download progress. 60%.
But we are now in the second phase of the upgrade installation. The download is already completed, I think.
73%.
We are now, let's say, in the second phase of the upgrade process, the phase where the update is being prepared to be installed. Now, the iPad is not plugged in, and I did it on purpose. Why? Because I just want to show you that if your battery is under 50%, you'll be asked to connect your device, because if there is a crash during the update, it may broke your device or it may damage it. If your battery is over 50%, you should be good to go to process with the upgrade. But in fact, I'll always suggest you to connect your device to a wall outlet before proceeding with the upgrade. So we'll wait until the preparing update phase has completed.
Preparing update.
I'm flicking right.
Download progress. 78%.
Okay, so we are at 78%. Let me mute the microphone
79%.
and I'll be right back when we'll be near the end.
87%.
By the way, the download, we've skipped it out
89%.
because my internet connection was really fast, but in some situation, instead of seeing preparing update, you may see like download in progress or downloading, something like this. So I'll be right back with you in a moment.
Download progress. 89%. Downloaded.
Okay, so now the update has finished downloading. So let me flick right.
iOS 12.4 introduces iPhone for information.
Again.
Learn
again.
more. Install now. Dimmed.
Okay, now I
Button.
have to click on Install Now. However, this button is dimmed. Why? If I flick right,
This update requires at least 50% battery or to be connected to a power source.
as explained. So let me connect the iPad to a power source.
Install now. Button. General. Back button.
Here we go. It seems to be good now. So we have the Install Now available. So let me find it back.
Install now. Button.
Okay, and I think I can double tap on it. As soon as I'll do it, my device will shut
Alert.
down.
In progress.
There we go.
Verifying update.
So
Ellipsis.
verifying update, and in a couple of seconds,
Verifying update.
the iPad will shut down by itself.
In progress.
So your device should shut down in a moment.
Verifying update.
There we go. So now it is processing the upgrade. Depending the upgrade you're installing, it may take between 5 minutes to 30 minutes. For a minor upgrade, it will be shorter, but for a major one, it should take like, sometime near half an hour without having the feedback of VoiceOver. So if I'm touching my screen, nothing happened now. So I'll wait, and as soon as VoiceOver will give us a feedback, I'll be right back.
Portrait.
Here we go. So just after hearing the charging sound, the iPad has rebooted. So let me flick right.
Your passcode is required to enable Touch ID.
Okay, perfect. So I am prompted to enter my passcode. In some situation, the device might be locked if you're not touching the screen directly after the reboot occurred. If you're not sure, you can press the power button for sure. Let me do it. So I'll lock the screen
4:55 p.m.
and then
34% charged. Software update. Your iPad has been updated to iOS 12.4. Actions available.
so here I have the confirmation that the upgrade has been processed without any issue. Let me continue flicking right.
Press home to unlock. Button.
And then press home to unlock. So let me press the home button.
Try again.
Okay, so
1. Passcode field. 0 of 4 values entered.
back on the screen that I was having a couple of seconds before, let me enter the passcode.
2. 0. 1. 9. FaceTime.
Great, I am back on my home screen. And by the way, if you're doing a major upgrade, this one was a minor one, but in case of a major upgrade, you might be asked to answer some additional questions, so be aware of that. You might have to go ahead and answer some questions by just flicking left, right, and double tapping. In some situation also, you might be prompted to re-enter your Apple ID password. Also, just to clarify something, if your device is plugged in before launching the upgrade process, you're not going to have to click on Install Now. So if you want to simplify the thing, you can just plug in your device, go into Settings, General, Software Updates, then click Update Now, enter your passcode, and after that, you'll see that the update will be downloaded, prepared, and the installation will begin after verifying the upgrade. And then after a while, your device will restart by itself. Great, so let me go back into settings to show you that the upgrade was well processed.
Page settings. Settings. Heading.
So now I can just touch the right side of my screen, knowing that General is selected by default when opening settings on iPad.
AirDrop. Button.
Okay. Let me
Software
find,
update.
Okay.
Button.
Software upgrade. Software
Select
update, sorry.
General. Back button.
Okay, then let me flick right.
Software update. Heading. Automatic updates. Off. iOS 12.4. Your software is up to date.
Fantastic. So everything has been updated now. And the next step will be to talk about how to factory reset your iOS device. let me show you how to proceed. So I am still in the software update screen. So let me perform a 2-finger zigzag gestures to get out of there.
About. Button.
Okay, the option allowing to reset or restore your device is also under settings and general. We are already there. So let me touch the bottom of my screen with 4-finger.
Shut down. Button.
Okay, so this command brings me to the last available items on the screen. I brought the focus there because the restore option is the option just before the last one. So flicking left.
Reset. Button.
Okay, here's the reset button. Let me double tap.
Select reset all settings. Button.
Okay, so
Reset. Heading.
here,
Reset all settings.
reset
Button.
all settings.
Erase all content and settings. Button.
This is what we are looking for.
Reset network settings. Button.
You'll be also able to find some other options there.
Subscriber services. Button.
I'll not cover all of these options with you right now. So let me go back.
Erase all content and settings.
Erase
Button.
all content and setting. Double tap.
Selected. Alert. Do you want to update your iCloud backup before erasing?
Yep. Why not? I'll click yes, just in case we have some important data. And yeah, for sure, if it's a new iPad, you have nothing's on, it is not something you'll absolutely have to perform. But just to show you,
If you erase without updating your backup, you may lose photos and other data that are not yet uploaded to iCloud.
okay, I don't have.
Backup then erase. Button.
Okay, let me click backup then erase. The other option,
Erase now. Button.
it's erase now.
Backup then
So
erase.
just to show you,
Button.
backup and erase.
Alert. Completing backup. Progress. 26%.
Okay, so the backup is in completion
48%.
and it should be
Enter passcode.
completed.
Heading.
Yep. Okay, it was very quick because nothing was on this device. So now I need to enter my password,
Cancel.
but
Button.
this is the 4-digit code we've set up on the
Dismiss
iPad.
pop-up.
So
9.
again,
Pop 2.
that's 2
0.
0
1.
1
9.
9.
Alert. Erase iPad.
Here is iPad.
This will delete all media and data. And reset all settings. Cancel. Button. Erase. Button.
Okay, erase. I'll click this button, and after that, we should be prompted to enter our Apple ID password for security reason and protection. This additional step prevents someone to steal your Apple device. So this is really important, by the way, to be able to access all the time your Apple ID, because if you're unable to enter the password or to recover the password of your Apple ID, there's absolutely no way to erase the iPad. Or if you do it using DFU, well, you're not going to be able to reconfigure the device. So if you're unable to access your Apple ID, your device is just dead.
Erase. Button.
Let me click erase.
Alert. Erase iPad. Are you sure you want to continue?
Oh,
All
okay.
media, data, and settings will be erased. This
Okay.
cannot be undone.
Okay, yes, we have another confirmation before the password.
Cancel.
Sorry.
Erase.
So, yes,
Button.
just to make sure that you really want to proceed. So, let me click again erase.
Alert. Secure text field. Is editing.
Here we go.
Password. Character mode.
And
Insertion point at start.
if I flick left,
Enter the Apple ID password for.
so yes, I am prompted to enter my Apple ID password. So let me do it and I'll be right back. Okay, it is done. And I can locate the return button.
More. Symbol. Return.
Perfect. Lifting my finger and double tapping.
Maps. Button.
And bye-bye, the iPad is no longer responding. So,
Map.
no, it is again. Oh, okay. Now it's completely stopped. So, yep, it should take a couple of minutes to complete the deletion of data. When it's going to be done, I'll start over the setup wizard. I'll enter the Wi-Fi password, etc. And I'll be right back with you once the screen allowing me to set up as a new iPad to restore from an iTunes backup or from an iCloud backup will pop up. And I'll show you how it is possible to restore from the encrypted iTunes backup that we've made together in the previous podcast. All right, I'm in.
Apps and data. Heading. Restore from iCloud backup. Button.
Okay, so here are my options.
Restore from iTunes backup. Button. Set up as new iPad.
So
Button.
previously, we've selected
Set up as new iPad.
set as
Button.
new iPad.
Move data from Android.
And
Restore from
then
iTunes backup.
Let me
Button.
select
Restore from iTunes backup. Button.
restore from iTunes backup.
Back button. Connect to iTunes. Connect to iTunes.
And that's it. So right now my computer is on and iTunes is also running. So without further ado, let me go ahead and connect the iPad to my computer and we'll see what happens. Here we go. Then,
Back button.
okay, what's going on the iPad screen?
Connected to iTunes.
Okay, so now I am connected.
Connected to iTunes.
Let me have a look to my computer right now.
Tab. Title is Alt Tab. JAWS Home View. Alt Tab. Task switching. Task switching. iTunes. To move to an item, press the arrow keys. iTunes. Back button.
Okay.
To active. Tab. Welcome to your new iPad.
Thank you.
Tab. Would you like to set up this iPad as a new iPad or store all of your information from a previous backup?
I want to restore. Let me continue with tab.
Tab. Set up as new iPad radio button checked. To change the selection, press up or down arrow.
Okay, so let me press up arrow. Oh, doesn't want. Let me try to press tab.
Tab. Restore from this backup : radio button not checked. To change
Okay.
the selection, press up or down arrow.
Let me press the space bar.
Space.
Then shift tab.
Shift tab. Set up as new iPad radio button not checked. Tab. Restore from this backup : radio button checked.
Okay, great.
Tab. iPhone 6s formation button drop down. To change the selection, use the arrow
Okay,
keys.
so let me select this backup.
Tab. Last backed up : 2019-06-07-12:59 p.m.
Okay, so yeah, unfortunately the date is not corresponding anymore to the date when I've did the backup and the podcast explaining how to restore. But anyway, that's not important. I just want to restore. So
Tab. Continue button.
let me click continue.
Enter. iTunes dialog. Settings and data from some apps are not compatible with iPad and will not be restored. Continue button. To activate.
Yeah,
Screen
this
dim.
is possible due to the fact that I am restoring an iPhone to an iPad.
Tab. Cancel but tab. Continue
So
button.
let me click continue anyway.
Enter. iTunes unavailable. Password edit. To activate,
Okay,
press spacebar.
and now
Enter
I am
password
prompt-
dialog. Enter the password to unlock your iPad backup. Password :
Okay,
password edit.
so I am prompt to enter the password to unlock the encrypted backup of the iPad, not the iPad, the iPhone, to restore it on the iPad. So let me type
Star,
this
star,
out.
star. Enter. Edit. Type in text. iPad dialog. Restoring iPad from backup.
Here we go. It's in process now.
Tab. Tab.
And can I
Title is iTunes, iPad. Tab.
check the progression?
Alt
Let
tab.
me press
JAWS
Alt
version.
tab.
Alt tab. iTunes, iPad dialog. Restoring iPad from backup. Restoring iPad from backup. Progress bar 0%.
Okay, so it may take a while.
Restoring iPad from backup. Progress bar read only. 3%. iPad
There we go.
3%.
So by pressing insert tab, I can access the progress bar now. So,
Tab.
but if I
Shift
press
tab.
tab or shift tab, there is no buttons that can that I can focus in. So I can just verify the progress bar by pressing insert tab.
Restoring iPad from backup. Progress bar read only. 7%. iPad 7%.
Sounds good. So let me come back to you when it's going to be done. During this time, by the way, if I press the home button on the iPad,
Restore in progress. Restore in progress.
that's the screen I can see on this device. All right, almost done.
Restoring iPad from backup. Progress bar read only. 86%. iPad 86%.
It should take a couple of
Percent.
additional seconds before completing the restore.
Percent.
And after that, we should observe that the iPad will reboot by itself. And after that, we should be good to go to finish setting up the iPad screen. So let me wait until the restore is complete.
Restoring iPad from backup. Progress bar read only. 93%. 97%. Music introduction. Music.
Done.
iTunes dialog. The settings for your iPad have been restored. Please leave your iPad connected. It will appear in the iTunes window after it restarts. OK button. To activate, press spacebar. Music. iTunes. Music.
Good job. So it is done. And in a couple of iTunes, here we go.
iTunes dialog. iTunes could not connect to the iPad left quote, iPad right quote because it is locked with a passcode. You must enter your passcode on the iPad before it can be used with iTunes. Try again button. To activate,
this is
press
something
spacebar.
perfectly normal. I'll just wait until the iPad will reboot and let us know that it is ready. So it should take a couple of additional seconds. Oh, yeah, I think the iPad is coming up. Let me try to lock and unlock. Maybe turning off and on VoiceOver by triple tapping the home button. 1, 2, 3.
VoiceOver off.
Yep, 1, 2, 3. I think it's still in process. Let me come back in a couple of seconds when it's going to be done. Okay, it is. However, I got a very weird glitch. I don't know what happened here. After turning off VoiceOver, I was proud with the screen to enter my 4-digit PIN that I've set up prior to the restore from iTunes backup. However, it was totally impossible to re-enable VoiceOver. It was completely stuck. And I've tried to reboot. I've tried to shut down, then reboot by pressing the power and home button together. Nothing's happened. I was still stuck on the enter password with the numeric keypad. I was near to put the iPad in DFU mode for those who know what it is. So I'll greatly suggest you, the only way I've got to enter the password, to be honest, was to grab Be My Eyes. I never saw that prior to this podcast. Anyways, maybe Apple introduced a new bug in their stuff. I don't know why, but anyways, the only way I've got to type in the password on the iPad screen was to use Be My Eyes and have someone guiding me to type in on the screen. So what I'll suggest you to do is even to do not turn off VoiceOver. It seems that if you wait longer than I did, you should be able to type in the password with VoiceOver. The other way you can do, instead of setting up Touch ID or Face ID as well as the code before restoring, do not do this. Answer to the Touch ID question, don't use. Same thing for Face ID. And you can even set your device without any security code. So after that, you should be able to restore and not be stuck after the reboot of the device. So
Hola.
Without
Heading.
further ado.
Prem el botón de inicio para abrir. Button.
Okay.
Press home to
Yep.
press home to open.
Okay, I need to press
Button.
home.
Passcode field. 0 of 4 values entered.
Yeah, my password is already set up. So
7
let
5
me
1 2 0 4 1 9.
Okay, great.
Setup. Update
And-
completed.
Okay,
Heading.
great. So have they completed?
Your iPad was updated successfully. Your iPad was updated successfully. There are just a few more steps to follow, and then you're done.
Okay, great.
Continue. Back button. Personal data use. Data and privacy. This
So
icon you
this
won't
is
see.
very similar to what we saw in the first setup. So let me skip it very quickly.
App. Continue. Continue. Back button. Next. Apple ID. Sign in with your Apple ID to use iCloud,
Okay,
iTunes,
I need to
the App Store, and more.
sign in,
Apple ID. Email. Text field.
but I think I'll skip this step for now because anyway, it's just a demo, but in your case, you may sign in.
Forgot
So
password or
let
don't
me click
forgot
this
back
one.
button. Forgot create a free. What is an Apple ID? Get all your shop from you. Send unlimited. Shop for your set up later and set up alert. Use Apple don't use button.
So let me go very
back
fast
button.
and let me click don't use. For sure, in your situation, after restoring from a backup, you may connect to your Apple ID in order to download all the apps.
Terms and conditions. Please read the following.
I need to accept.
Disagree. Agree. Button. Get the latest features. Continue. Install updates manually.
Install
Button.
manually.
Back button. Location. About locate. Enable location. Disable location. Enable. Back button. Siri. To use Siri sends in. Continue. Set up later in settings.
Oh, let me set up Siri later in settings as well.
Back button. Screen time.
I just want to launch the iPad.
Get a weekly report with. Continue. Set up later in settings. Back button. iPad. Help Apple.
In your situation, you may follow all the steps I've explained to you during the initial setup when we set up the device as a new one.
About analytics and share with Apple. Don't share. Don't back quick with VoiceOver on. Continue. Back switch between recent apps.
That's
with
exactly the same tutorial.
Back quickly with voice. Continue. Button. Welcome to get started. Face.
There we go.
Alert.
So,
text field is edited. Sign into iTunes Store.
Again, because my apps wants to download after my restore.
Password.
Again,
Cancel. Okay.
Let me click cancel.
Button. Alert. Secure text. Okay. Cancel. Button. FaceTime.
Okay. Yeah, I just
double tap to open.
Clicked it a couple of times.
Page 3 of 6.
Now, if we look at it.
Page 3. Dropbox. In iCloud.
All right, so all my apps are now ready to download. Yep, sorry, I did it faster because I don't want to take so much time, but you can use the same step as we've covered during the initial setup. Don't worry, I just did that to show you that, yep, everything's ready to go and restore, and that's it. So this is it. The other thing you can also do if you're receiving a new iOS device is to directly connect it to iTunes without powering up. Before, when connecting it directly through iTunes, you'll be prompted if you want to set it up as a new device or if you want to restore a backup. You don't even need to launch VoiceOver prior to restoring, especially if you are restoring from an encrypted backup. VoiceOver will be automatically turned on at the appropriate moment. If you are doing it this way, in some situation, you might have to completely reset the device. So in fact, you'll have to re-download the entire software, so iOS I mean, and it will have to be reinstalled on your device. So that's why I mostly suggest you to do it on screen and connect it to iTunes when appropriate. But yes, you can do it this way as well. And since iOS 12.4, there is a very interesting new feature. This is the possibility to restore an encrypted backup to a new device without requiring iTunes. The only thing you'll need is your whole device working. And when doing the setup, I don't know if you remind, but the first step, when I turned on the iPad for the first time, launched VoiceOver, I was prompted if I want to use the quick setup or if I want to use the manual one. With a quick setup, you have the possibility to bring a device near your new device. So bring an existing setup device near your new device. So this is pretty useful if you are transferring from an iPhone to another, from an iPad to another, from an iPhone to an iPad, etc., etc. So if you bring your existing device near your new device, we did not talk about this option in the podcast, but if you do so, all informations related to the Wi-Fi, and your Apple ID will be transferred from the original device to the new one you're trying to set up. And since iOS 12.4 in extra, you'll have the possibility either to restore from an iCloud backup. You'll have more options where you can for sure select the possibility to restore from an iTunes encrypted backup, or to import data from Android, or even set up your device as a new device. But since iOS 12.4, a new option was added. This is the options allowing to restore or to transfer data from your existing device. To benefit of these new features, make sure at the initial setup to bring near your new device your old one and follow the steps. Two options are available if you want to restore the contents from your old device directly to the new one without using iTunes or iCloud. You can either use a transfer via Wi-Fi. In this case, it might be a bit longer. A peer-to-peer Wi-Fi network will be created between both devices and the transfer will occur. The other way I've got to transfer my data, but you're not gonna be invited to do it, but you need to know about, and this is when I did the test, this is the way I've used personally because I hate to wait after Wi-Fi. So I've decided to build a lightning to lightning cable. How did I did that? I use a lightning to USB cable, a regular lightning cable that is coming with all iPhones. So I have used this one, and I also use my lightning to USB adapter, which is normally used to connect a camera to your iOS device or even a professional audio sound card. And this is the same adapter that I was talking about earlier in this podcast, allowing to connect a wired keyboard. So I've used this adapter. So I've connected the USB part of my lightning cable into the female port of this adapter. So the result, I was having two lightning connectors, so two male connector. So I've plugged one into the whole iPhone, one into the newest one, and I've did the transfer this way. However, I got a warning that it was really important to make sure that my both devices are connected to a power outlet. Unfortunately, I was unable to do it because my two lightning ports were busy by the special cable. In fact, in some lightning adapter, you'll have the possibility to connect a second lightning cable that you're gonna plug into a USB to AC adapter, allowing to give some power to both devices. But the adapter that I was having does not have this possibility. But in fact, I've just accepted the warning and the transfer went through. But for sure, I just make sure that my batteries were more than 90% when I start this transfer. But anyway, this was really quick. It was less than maybe 5 minutes. For sure, I was not having so much data on the iPhones I did the test with, but it was very, very, very quick and really interested. So be aware of that. If you want to transfer from a device to another, you can do it. But for sure, even if this option exists, continue doing regular iTunes encrypted backups or even iCloud's one, because if your existing device crash, you're not going to be able to restore your data to your new device this way. You'll have to use, in this case, an iTunes encrypted backup to recover all your data without exceptions. Or for sure, you can also use an iCloud backup that will contain most important data, but you might be missing some of them, like all your passwords if you're not using the iCloud keychains, or your health data. So I hope this podcast helped you setting up your new iOS devices and understand how works the encrypted iTunes backup. If you have some questions, comment, or need some technical support, don't hesitate to give us a call or contact us via email. You'll find all our contact detail in a second. This was Alexandre signing out. Before the end of this podcast, I would like to say thank you for your loyalty to this series of podcasts on assistive technologies. I would also like to thank our loyal collaborator. As a reminder, I would like to inform you that Canadialog will not provide free technical support on product presented during these shows and that are not sold directly by Canadialog. Please note that our podcasts are now available on our website, YouTube, iTunes, as well as on Victor devices by consulting the North American English suggested podcast list from Humanware. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can contact us via email at podcastwitness@canadialog.com. That is PODCASTS at CANADIALOG.com, or by phone on our toll-free number at 1-888-730-0003. Again, 1-888-730-0003, extension 555. I also invite you to visit our website, which contains a lot of useful information at www.canadialog.com. You can also visit us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Thanks for listening.